And welcome back to Wake Up Radio with Ryan Ray and Fuzz. We've been talking to Joe Mellett with Bicycle City, and his team member, Mike Lydon, is joining us live from New York City via Skype. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Morning, guys. I'm well. How are you?
Great. Thanks so much for joining us, Mike. It's a pleasure to have you here. You're in charge of urban planning for Bicycle City. Tell us a little bit about what that involves.
Well, it's really about laying out the Bicycle City as a community to be conducive to cycling and walking as best that we can. We're looking at only 10 sites or 10 home sites in the first phase here, but really this could be a whole square mile of land when it's all said and done, which could be the home to 10 or 15,000 people living, working in a car-free lifestyle. As we've mentioned earlier in the program, people will have access to cars, but largely all the movement within the city will be by foot, whether that, again, is on bicycle or by walking. So that's an interesting challenge, and it's a great way to reconceive how we design, plan, and build communities.
I think it's really fantastic, and one of the things that it reminds me of is I spent about a year in Europe, and people really embrace walking, and community is so much stronger because there is so much more connection with the people. What kinds of things are you implementing in Bicycle City to help create that strong feeling of community?
Well, there'll be a really strong sense of public space. A lot of these homes will be, facing onto parks and squares and plazas. We'll have a downtown where people can easily walk or bike to, where again you'll have public space, shops, restaurants. You'll have stores and apartments over those shops. So you have a meaningful amount of density, which brings people together for all sorts of different reasons. And you can just imagine a lot of different things happening in this community that can only happen when you have a what we call walkable urbanism. The pattern of the buildings and all that will be supportive of an environment that is conducive to socialization and to, again, physical activity. So it's a better way to plan and design communities.
Yeah, and that's so fantastic, Fuzz. I remember when I lived in Madrid, I mean, every evening at around 4 or 5 o'clock, all the people from the buildings would filter down to the street and gather and have tapas and a copa, a little bit of wine to kind of relax and spend their afternoons.
I witnessed that while I was in Spain too, and that's also quite popular in Mexican towns and villages as well. And yeah, it's like, you see your neighbor. There's all that trust there. You know who the people are that live in your community, and I think we probably missed that.
Yeah, I think that, wow, it sounds, Mike, like it would be a great place to open a couple of tapas bars. I don't know, I might be able to hook you up with some contacts. Tell us, my friend, what other kind of challenges have you guys faced in building this brand new city on this undeveloped piece of land?
Well, that's just it. We're starting from scratch. So nothing is easy when you're starting a town where you have a really big vision, but you have nothing in the ground. So a very basic element is getting sewer and water to the site. We've had some financial constraints on extending what is existing for a sewer system, which is about a mile away from the property. But until we sell these first 10 lots, we're going to have septic systems, and then eventually we'll have that extended, hopefully in a year or two, where we can build up the density and have more people living together with a public sewer system. So even the basics, which we take for granted in most communities, that where you have some sort of density, we really have to push forward on getting these things accomplished very soon.
Now, Mike, I'm curious. Will these residents live in actual homes, individual structures, or will it be more like the brownstones of the New York and bigger city areas, or how will the residents' dwellings kind of fit into all of this?
Well, an authentic community has all sorts of different types of dwellings, whether they're apartments and condos to single-family homes to row homes like we have in my neighborhood in Brooklyn, single-family larger homes, and the whole range. And really what that facilitates is a lifestyle where you can really age in place, so to speak.
Yeah.
So that when you are young and out of college, you can go and move into an apartment. When you're old and aging, you can live in the apartment over by the garage in the backyard. When you have a big family, you can have the whole single-family house to yourself. And so really what this does is it creates an authentic range of options for people, and also creates a whole bunch of different price points, so that a lot of our communities today are at one price point. So you can't live here unless you can pay $600,000 for these homes. Well, this may have $600,000 but it'll also have $60,000 apartments. You see, so
Excellent.
it's much more authentic in who it's going to attract.
Oh, Mike, I gotta I just got goosebumps listening to you explain that, because again, I think when most people think about doing something that like this that they would consider maybe drastic because it's so different than what we currently have, there's that fear of, oh, okay, I'm going to have to, live in a cubicle type place with everybody on top of me and et cetera. And no, you're really designing and developing something for everyone.
You got it. You got it.
Mike, do you think that, are you guys planning to implement this sort of up, not out structure to try to keep things a little bit more compact and walkable?
Yes, absolutely. And when we have these single-family homes, for example, which tend to be on larger lots in general with less density, they will be on very small lots. And by small, I mean no larger than 1/4 of an acre. In some cases, they'll be smaller than that. But we will have density, and by density, I mean 3, 4, or 5 stories of either apartment buildings
Great.
or row homes or flats, things of that nature. So again, you do have more people living closer.
It sounds exciting. I think you may have just recruited your next 2 residents, potentially. Mike, thank you for joining us very much live from New York, and we'll be back in just a moment with Joe Mellett once more from Bicycle City. Stay with us for Wake Up Radio.